morning. We had some technical difficulties after our Zuzu acrobats yesterday. They kind of had some different stuff that they plugged in, and so we just got a little confused. But welcome to our March Positively Assembly. Let's hear a round of applause for our March winners. So our March character trait was integrity, and I know we talked about it in meditation every morning. Like, what kind of day are you having? Are you having a day where you feel sad or uncomfortable? And how do you react to those emotions that you're having inside? And if you're having a good day, how do you spread those positive feelings? So our winners up here did a lot of that this month, and we're going to get started since we had a little late of a start to begin with. So we're going to get right into our kindergarten winners from Mr. Pagliero's class, Javon, Santiago, and Barrett. From Mrs. Naimi's class, Camila Durek. From Mrs. Ronaldo's class, Leilani Abreu Oliveras. From Mrs. Zalznak's class, Musar. And from Mrs. Smith's class, Esther Zapata. Good job, kindergarten. Moving on to our first grade winners from Mrs. Menino's class, Rehana U. From Miss Warmis' class, Eternal Hatun. From Mrs. Alicia's class, Alexander Har. From Mrs. Elder's class, Kaylani Perez. And from Miss Hardinez's class, Yanellis Ferreira Cabral. Good job, first grade. Moving on to second grade from Mrs. Capero's class, LR2. From Mrs. Kalichi's class, Swar E. From Miss Mush's class, Iker Nunez. And from Mrs. Supa's class, Jamie Lee Miranda. Moving on to third grade from Mrs. McEwen's class, Lenny Acosta. From Mrs. Whiter's class, Matthew Burgos Cordero. From Mrs. Williams' class, Braylon Vega. From Mrs. Testa's class, Wei Yan So. Good job, third grade. Moving on to fourth grade from Miss Murphy's class, Na Hannah Moo. From Mrs. Jackson's class, Damon Musselwhite. From Mrs. Parada's class, Jancel Estrella Garcia. From Mrs. Gadara's class, Wee Ni Ong. And from Miss Diaz's class, Jonah Jones. Good job, fourth grade. Moving on to fifth grade from Miss Schaefer's class, Sage Garcette. From Miss Tobias's class, Amari Kokorovich. From Mrs. Keller's class, Hosanna Moo. From Mrs. Liberty's class, Na Mary Rowe. And from Mrs. Evelo's class, Philip Hudson. Good job, fifth grade. I know. Moving on to sixth grade from Mrs. Payne's class, Toy Zion Tolbert. From Mrs. Reben's class, Zachariah Thaw. From Mrs. Kopak's class, Thuthe Pa. From Mrs. Ferrucci's class, Diara Carrion. Good job, sixth grade. Moving on to special area. From music with Mrs. Larish, Taraji Thomas. Art with me, Mrs. Vega, Irvin Purick. Good job, Irvin. Mr. Caruso picked a child who also won for her own class, Rehana U. We have a double winner this month. Rehana, honey, there you go. From Library with Mr. Fega, Philip Pastorelli. And from Phys Ed with Mr. Caswell, Terrell Williams. Good job, special area. And our last but not least, categories related services with Miss Berg, Nayeli Morales Colon. With Mrs. Lloyd Fatumo Osman. With Mrs. Arcuri, Zaylin Brown. With Mrs. Banzer, Longan Sanchez. With Mrs. Mills, Umaira Abdul Hamid. And with Mrs. Brown, Amara Fio. Let's hear it one more time for all of our March winners. All right, my friends, you can join your class. All right, my friends, we got a couple more things to get through before I let you go. So let's sit down and quiet down. How about I hear quiet in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shh. All right, my friends, so we are coming back to school on Monday, and it will be April 1st. Shh. So today, for a couple minutes, we're going to talk about our April character trait, which is honesty. So I have a little quote up here. It says, "Honest hearts produce honest actions." Honesty implies a refusal to lie, steal, cheat, or deceive someone else in any way. Honesty is integrity, which we just talked about, trustworthiness, which I think was October, and responsibility, which I believe was September. So all things that we've already talked about and learned about and practiced this school year so far. Honesty is the moral strength to tell the truth, and being honest creates fairness and loyal friendships, as well as a positive learning environment. We're going to watch a couple of videos. We missed our integrity video last month because we had some technical difficulties, so we're going to watch it today.
Has anyone ever told you that you need to learn to be...
What? Miss Gerling thinks you should all be a little bit quieter.
Responsible? Have you ever wondered what it means to be responsible and why it's so important? Let's find out in today's episode of Character Education Responsibility. Being responsible means that you take ownership over your decisions and your actions. Being responsible can help you to become a dependable person and a problem solver. It might sound hard, but it can actually be pretty amazing. If you always feel like life is happening to you and you don't really have any control, here's some great news. Taking responsibility for your decisions and your actions puts you in control. There are always circumstances that are out of our control, but the great thing is that we get to choose how we react within those circumstances. Here's an example. Going to school is something that you have to do, but you get to decide how you feel and how you act. Let's say that for whatever reason you decide you don't like going to school. So when you're there, you're kind of tuned out, you act like you don't really care about what's going on because, hey, you already decided that you don't want to be there. Now let's say that you're not really sure how you feel about school, but you're going to keep an open mind. Maybe you're not super into spelling practice, but math seems like it could be okay. And then if you do well, you can apply for a robotics elective. So you decide to apply yourself. You do well, and you join the tech class that you wanted. Then you discover you love it. I mean, you just made a robot that can talk and carry your backpack. The only difference between these examples is that you decide to apply yourself in the second one. You decided not to waste your time. I mean, you have to be there anyway, why not make the most of it? You can go through life thinking that you don't have the circumstances you need to be successful, or maybe that other people should be doing more to help you achieve your dreams. Or you can decide to be responsible for yourself. Remember, being responsible means taking ownership over your actions and decisions and making good choices, like being on time, getting your work done, and cleaning up after yourself. So go take control of your life and be responsible.
All right, we have one more.
Check it out. Cute. It looks like one of those wedding pictures. This is free advice, where you tell me your problems and I try and fix them. Ever since I could speak, I've always had a genuine passion for helping people.
I would love some advice on how to make my students passionate about learning. I teach 10 and 11.
Oh gosh, it's got elementary. I'm Adam, and I'm here to help. Today's episode is how to tell someone something that they may, well actually probably don't want to hear. Let's just get right into this. The first question comes from David Enriquez. I have a person I know who doesn't let other people finish talking and cuts them off mid-sentence. How does one manage not to strangle this person in his sleep? Maybe you should try and avoid him so that you don't strangle him in your sleep, because that's like a mandatory life sentence. How about do something called a compliment sandwich? Here's how it works. You tell him something nice. You tell him the information that has to be told, and then you end it off on a high note. For example, I would tell him, your opinions are very interesting, but I think if you let us talk, you can form better and more educated opinions. If we work on that together, we're all going to be much happier. Your honesty is the meat of the sandwich, and if you're vegan, like my teacher, you can substitute the meat for tofu. By the way, I think that we should treat animals with respect, because they still feel pain and all that. Okay guys, this one is from Lisa Cleveland. Great lesson. I work in a quiet office in a cubicle. Amazing. There's still quiet places in this world. And a coworker likes to clip her nails, personal beauty, and hum long-term music. So first of all, Lisa, honesty is always the best policy. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. You have to tell her how that noise makes you feel, and it allows her to have compassion for what you're going through. Also, you have to ask, what can I do to make your work life easier? By doing that, you can both work together to solve the problem. And if it goes well, maybe you go to the nail salon and get your nails painted and clipped. I really like the smell of nail polish. I don't know, I like that and gasoline. It's weird. Hopefully, I didn't come off as creepy. I love this question. I see people at my work using a handicapped/disabled button to go in and out of the building just because they're lazy. Hashtag pet peeve. I don't really see what's wrong with that. Because as long as it's not really affecting a handicapped person, there's really not much you can do. I mean, you can't stand there like a traffic cop. Hey, I have to let you up on this. Guys, I have to tell you something you may not want to hear, but I have to go for dinner. Bye! I'm coming, Mom!
All right, so for our April mindfulness, our meditation in the morning is going to be called Our Purpose in Life, and our positive affirmation is going to be the truth will set you free. So that's an easy one. Let me hear you say it. The truth will set you free. Good job, my friends. Also, I have some good news. Spring breaks in 21 days. All right, my friends, give yourselves a round of applause, and happy Easter to anyone who celebrates. I see a lot of bunnies in the front. Have a great day, you guys.